Hello and welcome and namaste from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Coming up over the next 30 minutes. India strongly reiterates its call for dialogue and diplomacy in the West Asia conflict, confirms the death of 3 Indian sailors near the Gulf of Oman. The West Asia conflict widens on day 4. France says it's deploying Rafale fighters over the UAE and providing air defense systems to Cyprus. Iran warns European nations against joining the war. Israel hits Presidential Office and Security Council building in Tehran. The IAEA says Iran's Natanz nuclear site has also suffered recent damage. Beirut is bombed as well. Israeli troops push further into southern Lebanon. And Iran strikes back with blasts heard in Jerusalem, Doha and Manama. Qatar's Al Udeid US air base also targeted. Oil infrastructure hit as well in the UAE and Oman. First up, India's External Affairs Ministry has expressed deep concern at the commencement of the conflict in Iran and the Gulf region starting the 28th of February. Even at that time, India had urged all sides to exercise restraint, avoid escalation and prioritize the safety of citizens. Unfortunately, that's what the MEA has said. In the holy month of Ramadan, the situation in the region has deteriorated significantly and continuously. In recent days, the MEA has said that we have not only witnessed an intensification of the conflict, but has also its spread to other nations. The destruction and deaths have mounted, even as normal life and economic activities have come to a halt. As a proximate neighbor with critical stakes in the security and stability of the region, these developments evoke great anxiety. There are almost 1 crore Indian citizens who live and work in the Gulf of region. That's 10 million. Their safety and well-being is of utmost priority. We cannot be impervious to any development that negatively affects them. Our trade and energy supply chains also traverse this geography. Any major disruption has serious consequences for the Indian economy. As a country whose nationals are prominent in the global workforce, India is also firmly opposed to attacks on merchant shipping. Already, some Indian nationals have lost their lives or are missing as a result of such attacks in the last few days. In this background, India strongly reiterates its call for dialogue and diplomacy. We raise our voice clearly in favor of an early end to the conflict. Already, many lives have been regrettably lost, and we express our grief in that regard. Indian embassies and consulates in the affected countries remain in close touch with Indian nationals and community organizations, issuing regular advisories as appropriate. They have also extended all possible help to those stranded by the conflict. The embassies and consulates will continue to be proactive in addressing various consular aspects of this conflict. We are in touch with the governments of this region as well as other key partners. Prime Minister and External Affairs Minister have held discussions with their counterparts. Government will continue to closely monitor the evolving situation and take relevant decisions in the national interest. Let me now go across to DD India's Akhilesh Suban for more on this. Akhilesh, we've just read out the statement that has been issued by the Ministry of External Affairs on behalf of the Indian government. What more can you tell us about India's efforts to ensure that this sort of a call which has been reiterated for diplomacy and dialogue is heard?
You are right, Gautam, that the Ministry of External Affairs has, expressed in a way anger and anguish on both the things that is happening in the whole region. One, conflict is not stopping, and another thing that enough dialogue and diplomacy is not taking place. So I think these are the two issues about which India is talking to various stakeholders. You know that just a few minutes before we are talking, External Affairs Minister Jaishankar has talked to his counterpart in European Union, Clara Klaas. because European Union is one of the major stakeholders in the whole region, and that Iran has been telling the Europe to keep away from this whole conflict. Now, India also doesn't want that any other party should join this conflict. But Russia also has been telling that no other party should join the conflict against Iran or whatever. So, if other countries join the conflict, it will be more a difficult situation for everyone. And one of the major concerns of India is that India is one of the countries which needs lots of energy. It's a quite upcoming country. People are going everywhere, and in a way we are trying to develop. And we are the fourth largest economy and a major fastest growing economy. And in that situation, if we are our supplies, oil and gas supplies are somehow or other, affected, then it will be very difficult for us. And that is why, External Affairs Ministry has come out with a very strong statement. It is actually a very strong statement that, the threatening the tankers coming in the whole region is not taken in a good sense from India. India is a country which always been telling all stakeholders to sit together and talk on issues of mutual concern. And what India was telling Iran earlier, what India has told in Israel and USA also, that dialogue and diplomacy should be adopted. And in that situation, if it is not happening, and if our people are stranded everywhere in the whole region, which are around 1 crore, means 10 million, it is really a great, concern for India. Even though Indian government is trying that those who are stranded should be taken to our country, because you cannot evacuate everyone because it's a huge number, and this is not the situation when you can use your flights, special flight. So regular flights are being told to keep on the ground, so that whenever you get a chance, you take the people who are stranded at the airport to India at various airports. Some flights have already come. Some other flights will be coming. So India is working on two things. One thing, that talking to all stakeholders in the whole region, not to telling them not to escalate the conflict, and also encouraging everyone that whatever means of communication are left, uh, that should be applied to stop the conflict. Gautam.
Right. But Akhilesh, the problem is that Iran seems to have isolated itself from its neighborhood the way it's lashed out at almost every other Gulf nation. And also, it's not really engaging with those who were in talks with it earlier, namely the Americans. So, in that sort of a scenario, what sort of an intervention do you think could be merited and could be initiated perhaps by a third party like India? There are others who also expressed concern, including Russia and China.
Yeah, actually, that our shortage and whoever I am talking to, India and also in other countries, that Iran and USA were already amidst the negotiation. They were negotiating on issues of either missile or the nuclear material. But in the meantime, there was an attack, and then everything has jeopardized. So India is really not very happy with the whole situation, because when you are talking, when you are amidst the negotiation, when you are amidst the agreement, there was no need for any such attack. And that is why India is always telling that dialogue and diplomacy should be adopted. President Donald Trump had also been hinting earlier. If you see his statement 2 days earlier, he was telling that dialogue is possible. But Iran is telling that no dialogue is possible now. So I think what is happening, that if some party comes forward for dialogue, other parties deny, and if other parties inside the dialogue, other parties attack. So this is happening as far as Iran, Israel, and U.S. Conflict is concerned, and the whole area is disturbed. The victims are common people living in that region, and also the victims are those people who have gone from different countries of mainly they are South Asian and East Asian countries, people from these regions,
Right.
also from some African countries. They are staying there to work. and they are also feeling, some people of India has also been,
Yes, Akhilesh, the situation
yeah,
clearly merits
yeah,
a huge amount of concern, and perhaps saner thoughts should be given the kind of merit and the weightage that is required. But we'll have to wait and see how the situation unfolds. Thanks a lot for joining us for the time being. Now, in news just coming in, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has spoken with two important leaders from the Gulf region this afternoon. He's had a phone call with the Sultan of Oman, Sultan Haitham bin Tariq. He also had a conversation with the Crown Prince of Kuwait, Sheikh Sabah Al Khalid Al Hamad Al Mubarak Al Sabah. During both the discussions, Prime Minister Modi expressed concern at the attacks in the respective countries and discussed the welfare and security of the Indian community residing there. And India has also issued advisories to Indian vessels over the situation in the Persian Gulf, the Strait of Hormuz and the Gulf of Oman. In the advisory, Director General of Shipping has said that it is closely monitoring the evolving maritime security situation. The Directorate has activated enhanced monitoring and security oversight, including ensuring maritime security and crew safety, real-time tracking of Indian-flagged vessels with increased reporting frequency, and a 24/7 monitoring through the Maritime Monitoring and Data Analysis Center, DGCOM. Mandatory reporting protocols have been prescribed for vessels, owners and managers, and close coordination is being maintained with the Indian Navy, the Ministry of External Affairs, IFCIOR, MRCC and Indian missions. Shipping companies have also been advised to exercise due caution in crew deployment and to maintain regular communication with seafarers and their families. The Government of India remains fully committed, that's what's being said, is to safeguarding the interests of Indian seafarers, merchant shipping and ensuring the security and resilience of India's maritime operations during this period of heightened regional tensions. Now, as the airspace in the UAE's Dubai city and the emirate has partially opened up amid the ongoing conflict in West Asia, Indian citizens have been arriving in New Delhi and Mumbai. Air India has welcomed passengers and crew arriving from Dubai on board flights at the Indira Gandhi International Airport in New Delhi. Let's listen in to what they have to say.
Of course, when you hear the noises, you feel scared, but otherwise, there was life as normal, and we felt very safe. The government did every way to make us residents, feel safe, or tourists feel safe. So, taxis were functioning well, malls were functioning well, people were very helpful there.
You are scared unless and until you are on your motherland. It is scary. You think कि नहीं यार situation यहाँ से बिगड़ सकती है. I'm exceptionally grateful to our Deputy CM Eknath Shinde ji, our CM Devendra Fadnavis ji, and especially Narendra Modi ji.
Meanwhile, more than 250 flights were cancelled at Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore and Bengaluru and Chennai airports on Tuesday due to the West Asia conflict. For the fourth successive day, flight operations continue to be disrupted as airline cancelled flights amid the escalating conflict involving the US, Israel and Iran in the region. According to officials, as many as 80 flights were cancelled at the Delhi airport, while 107 services were cancelled at the Mumbai airport. Some airlines, including Emirates, have partially started operations to and from West Asia. The Indian Embassy in Saudi Arabia has advised Indian nationals to remain vigilant and strictly follow local safety guidelines and official advisories. The advisory urges Indians in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to comply with instructions issued by local authorities and the Indian Embassy. Authorities noted that several air carriers continue to cooperate between Riyadh and Jeddah and Indian destinations. Indian nationals planning to return may avail of these flights after checking availability. The Indian Embassy in Tehran has also issued an update saying that it has relocated most Indian students to safer locations outside Tehran. The embassy has made arrangements for their transportation, food and accommodation. For other Indian students and Indian nationals who still remain in Iran, the advisory issued earlier remains same: to stay indoors, exercise due caution at all times, avoid areas of protests or demonstrations. The Central Board of Secondary Education of India on Tuesday postponed the Class 10 and 12 board exams scheduled for the 5th of March in the West Asian region amid the Iran-Israel conflict. CBSE Examination Controller Sanim Bhardwaj said that due to the current situation in parts of West Asia, that is Bahrain, Iran, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia and the UAE, the board has decided to postpone classes 10 and 12 exams on the 5th of March. The new dates will be announced later, and for further exams, the situation will be reviewed on the 5th itself. Earlier on Sunday, the board had postponed the exam scheduled on the 2nd of March in the region. We're taking a quick break at this point, and we'll have more for you in just a bit. Stay with DD India.
This week on Defense Dynamics, does the Indian Air Force need a 5th generation fighter now to counter China's Chengdu J-20? With AMCA still in the pipeline, we weigh the pros and cons of the F-35 Lightning II and Sukhoi Su-57. We decode Israel's air defense shield, Iron Dome, David's Sling and Arrow, and what India can learn from it. India inducts INS Anja Deep, boosting coastal anti-submarine capability, why it matters. Catch the full analysis this Wednesday at 8 p.m. IST only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, France has said it's ready to defend its partners if they request help after Iranian retaliatory strikes and reserves its right to intervene. In an interview, Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot said the war is dragging a number of countries in the region into the conflict with which we have relations, defense agreements and interests, including military bases. He added that French Rafale fighter jets carried out air operations to secure the skies above France's bases in the region. Around 400,000 French nationals are currently in the countries affected by the crisis in West Asia, and the French government is ready to fly back those most at risk using both commercial and military flights. Meanwhile, France's plans to send anti-missile and anti-drone systems to Cyprus after British air base on the island was attacked by drones. Reportedly, France has said that the deployment would include a frigate, as President Emmanuel Macron communicated the intention to Cypriot counterpart Nikos Christodoulidis early on Tuesday. And residents of Akrotiri village near the British Royal Air Force base in Cyprus largely evacuated following a drone strike on the facility overnight. Sirens blared as locals fled in panic, seeking shelter in Limassol or Cypriot Army barracks amid fears for family safety. Cyprus remains on high alert following a drone strike on Britain's Royal Air Force base at Akrotiri, which caused minor damage although no casualties. The attack, involving an Iranian-made Shahed drone, likely launched by the Hezbollah from Lebanon, occurred just after midnight on Monday, marking the first such incident on the base since 1986 and escalating regional tensions. European Council President Antonio Costa has conveyed the European Union's unwavering support and solidarity to Cypriot President Nikos Christodoulidis in a telephone call, while expressing appreciation for Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis for Greece's military assistance. Costa also welcomed Lebanon's steps to curb the Hezbollah's military activities. Meanwhile, Israeli forces have struck Iran's state broadcaster Islamic Republic of Iran Broadcasting, or the IRRB, in Tehran on Tuesday, causing 2 explosions near its headquarters. IRIB confirmed the attacks but reported it continues normal broadcasting amid the ongoing Israeli-US campaign. Israel also conducted precision overnight airstrikes on Iran's central leadership compound in Tehran, striking the presidential office and Supreme National Security Council building. The Israel Defense Forces have said that the operation has dismantled critical regime facilities using multiple munitions guided by precision intelligence.
Last night, the Air Force planes, under precise guidance from the Intelligence Directorate, attacked the Iranian leadership complex in the heart of Tehran, the most important and central headquarters of the regime. The complex is spread across many streets in the heart of Tehran. During the attack on the complex, we hit the presidential office and the gathering complex of the regime's most senior forum, as well as other leadership and command infrastructure. We attacked the Supreme National Security Council complex, the official body responsible for making decisions on policy and strategic issues in Iran.
Meanwhile, Iran has issued a stark warning to European nations on Tuesday, declaring that any involvement in defensive actions against its missile capabilities proposed by Germany, Britain and France would constitute an act of war and complicity with Israel and the United States. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Bakai emphasized that such moves would be treated as direct aggression against Iran.
This would be an act of war. Any such act against Iran would be regarded as complicity with the aggressors. It would be regarded as an act of war against Iran. Defensive is synonym for offensive. Doesn't make sense. Do they want to deprive Iran of its capability and capacity to fight back against the aggressors? That would be a shame if these countries take sides with the aggressors. They have already done enough against Iran.
And the entrances to Iran's underground and previously bombed uranium enrichment plant at Natanz have been struck as part of the U.S.-Israeli military attacks on the country. The underground fuel enrichment plant is one of Iran's 3 uranium enrichment plants, which are known to have been operating while Israel and the United States carried out strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities last June. And reacting to the development, the International Atomic Energy Agency, or IAEA, said that, and I quote, "Based on the latest available satellite imagery, IAEA can now confirm some recent damage to entrance buildings of Iran's underground Natanz fuel enrichment plant. No radiological consequence expected and no additional impact detected at FEP itself, which was severely damaged in the June conflict." And on to Lebanon, where Israel has said that ground troops will advance and seize additional strategic areas in the country. Israeli military has deployed additional forces to southern Lebanon overnight to take up what a military spokesperson on Tuesday described as defensive positions to protect Israeli civilians and strategic sites from any potential Hezbollah attack. Defense Minister Israel Katz said in a statement he had authorized the military to advance and take control of additional positions in Lebanon after Hezbollah fired rockets at Israel late on Sunday in reaction to U.S. and Israeli strikes against Iran. Also, Israel's military had launched strikes on Hezbollah targets, including command centers and weapons storage facilities in Lebanon's capital Beirut, after warning it would press ahead with its campaign against the Iran-backed group. Israeli forces have occupied 5 positions in southern Lebanon since November 2024. Meanwhile, Iran's army said on Tuesday its forces launched attacks on Israel and a U.S. military base in Qatar. The Iranian army statement carried by Sharq Daily said, and I quote, "The destructive combat drones of the army's ground, air and naval forces targeted the military areas of the Zionist regime in the occupied territories and the bases of American forces in Al Udeid, Qatar," unquote. And that's all we have at the moment in this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS. Just scan the QR code on the screen to download the app right away. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.